Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this, as long as you are watching it. My name is Kevin. Just want to come in just briefly, just to really offer some observation and prayerfully some words of wisdom. Um, One of my jobs that I do is uh, I'm constantly um, interacting with hospital employees, and in many businesses, whether hospital, banking, insurance, whatever you have, you're going to have more women than you will have men. And particularly, you will see very few African American men in, white collar type jobs. Okay. Even in so much as a front desk person, you won't find many African American men, but you will find a lot of women, particularly African American women. No issue with that, except that one of the things that I have observed over the years, and I'm telling you, 15 plus years, 17, 18 years, having worked in the uh, clerical field, administrative field, customer service field, they're dominated by African American women. Now, I think that's a good thing, but here's what I want to just bring out just briefly. With a lot of our African American women, a lot of them, not all. So I want to preface that, not all, but there are a lot that have attitudes, very attitudinal, very disrespectful, attitude in their tone, in their body language. Let me just tell you just today, for example. Now I'm inside of a hospital as I'm speaking to you, and as I came with some packages to deliver, an African American woman, complete attitude, doesn't even say, excuse me, good morning. No pleasantry, just, do you have any COVID system? Do you have any this? Have you been around anybody who has COVID? And then she's speaking super fast. So the first thing I said to her, I said, "Oh, I guess you're a speed talker, right?" Well, usually I have a long line and it's so many people. I told her. I said, "Yeah, well, I'm only one person." I said, "You can take your time." And of course, she, has an attitude. What is interesting is, one could say, well, maybe she had a bad day. But I've encountered this person on three separate occasions. In fact, the first occasion, and this is very interesting, I came in, I had some packages, my hands are full, and, we have to wear a mask, anytime you come into these, hospital facilities. And she began like fixing my mask, pulling it down, pulling it up, fixing my glasses. And I told her, I said, "Sis, you don't put your hand on no man's face." And she got upset. "Well, I don't care about you getting upset. That's disrespectful." You know, she doesn't know me. We don't have a friendship, and that's a very, very familiar spirit. And so every time I see her, there's always this attitude. You know, I remember working as a collections rep, and it was one of the worst jobs I ever had because I'm just not that kind of person. But the one thing I remember was, in terms of the collections, was that they made sure they hired a lot of African American women to collect on these photocopiers. So if the business, they were behind in payment, they made sure they would hire some of the nastiest black women to call on these customers and harangue them. You know, honestly, that it's demonic, but that's something else I'll get into later. But I will never forget. a friend of mine who used to do collections, and I went to him to get some advice because I had never done collections before, and I just was not going to, harangue people and be nasty to people and bang the phone down on people and just be completely disrespectful just to get a few dollars. That's just not my personality. It's not my style. So I went to a friend of mine to ask him, since he had done it for a number of years, and he said to me, I always remember this. He said, "Kev, you can get more bees with honey than you can get with vinegar." And I think that's probably a good way to close this thing out. We have to be careful of our tone. The Bible says that it talks about wrath, and it talks about how we can get more with a pleasant tone. Okay. And it tells us not to have bitterness and wrath in our heart. That's very, very true, right? Um, and so my takeaway is I do know this. A lot of black women have been damaged. One, many of them have never had a father in their life. Um, every human being wants to be loved, wants to be cherished, wants to be protected, wants to be nurtured. And so as a child, you've never had that. And you've never had a male that demonstrates this agape love.